Okay, so we are doing knee abdominal clearance and abdominal lift today. Like I said, if you have somebody coming in that's pretty inflamed, they've been struggling with some abdominal issues, I'm not going to do the abdominal lift on them. We're going to do the clearance 3, 4, maybe 5 times, and then on the last time, maybe second last time I go to do it, we'll start doing the lifts then. So it's kind of nice because the beginning of the treatment is very similar to the pelvis, that what we just touched on prior. We're going to remove the hip flexors. So I'm going to start with the abdominal triangle, just like we would have right after the low back. So that'll be from the umbilicus. I'm going to work my way down, and it's just on an angle. So coming through, playing my windshield wiper, I'm going to be working through that ileocecal valve. Ileocecal valve is what connects the large and the small intestine together. Then I continue working my way through to the cecum area, and I'm bringing everything into that right hip bone. Then I'm going to work my way back up to the umbilicus. Then I'm going to follow my way down the descending colon to the left hip bone, and that's going to be the sigmoid, the last turn of the large intestine before our waist comes to the rectum. And then I want to come across the top of the pubic ledge, finishing about midway right above the rectum area. I'm going to do that from face to face and face to feet. After I feel like I was thorough with that, I would just stay face to feet where I am over there, and then we would go into the hip flexors. And so that would be medial side of the hip flexor down to the insertion of the tendons, back up on top of the hip bone itself, working our way about 1/3 of the way down towards more so like gracilis and sartorius area. Then we work our way back up, and then we come on the outside into that TFL just to be in line with the pelvis. I'm going to do that from face to feet, face to face, flip on over, face to face to feet. Then we're starting with the large direction of the actual abdomen. So I flip myself face to face, and I'm going to start at the beginning of the large intestine. That is the cecum. I'm going to play my windshield wiper technique. As I work my way up, slowly peeling, and in the abdomen and pelvis area, yes, it's still scar tissue, crystallization, calcification. You can call it all that. But generally, we're going to call it adhesions and fibroids. So like, I'm not going to find a scar tissue mass in your neck by your spine and be like, you have a fibroid here. I'm going to be like, you have a scar tissue mass here. You have bound tissue, adipose tissue. In the abdomen, if I feel like a large mass, I'm going to be like, there's a fibroid. And so we just have to make that kind of correlation, that I'm not just going to be like, that's a scar tissue mass. There are adhesions, there's fibroids, there's cysts, there's diverticulitis, and that's just inflammation and like little pockets coming into the intestinal wall. And so there's a lot of stuff that can happen here. As we were reading through the book, you heard all those different symptoms. So I start at the cecum. I'm going to play my windshield wiper as I work my way up the ascending colon. And I'm giving you guys a specific amount of time. I want you to not just do one slow lap around. I want you to do multiple laps, because it's giving them breaks and you're coming back to these pockets. And the abdomen's a lot different than other areas of the body we work. We don't want to be going in and out with the whole depth of the tissue here, because there's a decent amount of depth, because we can move these organs around a little bit. And so I don't want to go wishy-washy, because that'll be a nauseating feeling. I want to go in deep, stay to that depth, and then work. So as I'm working my way up the ascending colon, I'm going to come and I'm going to try to tuck my elbow right under this right set of ribs. And that's going to be the liver, and then the gallbladder's tucked in right behind. But this is called, because it's the turn, the hepatic flexure. So I'm going to try to carve under those ribs and really start stimulating that liver area. After I've done that, I'm going to touch on the xiphoid process. That's the bottom of the sternum. Then I'm going to come off to the left side, and I'm carving under the left side of her ribs, which is the splenic flexure. That's going to be where the stomach is, and then the spleen back here. Then you got your pancreas tucked way back in as well. So, after I've done the splenic flexure, I actually stop at the base of her ribs. I don't want you going all the way around. It's not one circle. So it's almost a circle after I touch on xiphoid process. Then I stop at the end of the splenic flexure, the end of the ribs. I'm lifting my elbow up, and I'm going to place it right here, just above the belly button. Right at that belly button line, what is here, that's going to be our transverse colon. Over time, that loses its integrity and starts falling down and putting pressure on the small intestine, which puts pressure on those lower abdominal organs, which is going to put pressure on the bladder, the ovaries, the uterus, the prostate, causing a lot of binding to happen. And then we get that seeping through the large, and it can happen in the small intestine. Then we get that putrefaction. Putrefaction and infection causes inflammation, and inflammation causes adhesions. Adhesions, the scar tissue. And then we have the domino effect of unhealthy healing. And so, after I get to that splenic flexure, I stop here. I pivot myself completely face to side. I place my elbow. Even if I can see that their colon is falling down and out, then I know that their transverse colon is dropped. I don't care. I still want you to plow through this area, because that means that the liver or the stomach, they're all kind of inflamed in this area, kind of filling that area in. So I kind of want to push stuff to the side and clean back out to where I'm going to lift it to. So once I stop at that splenic flexure, lift up, place, and work across the transverse colon. Then I come down the descending colon. I'm going to focus on that sigmoid turn and hang out at that sigmoid. Then I pivot back once again face to side and work across the top of the pubic ledge. Don't come on top. In the book it says come underneath, on it, and just right on top of it. We just did pubic bones. Don't come on top of it. Just come underneath it and try to like break up some of those bands and strands that you feel latching on. So come through the top of the pubic ledge. After I've done my large circle, depending on the amount of time you have, you can do a couple laps. But just say I did 2 or 3 laps of what I just told you guys. Then I did a large circle. So now I'm going to head in and do the small intestine. So I'm going to do all around the belly button and then directly into the umbilicus area. And so then I did a large intestine and all the pockets of our major organs. Then I did small intestine. And then directly into the umbilicus. After I do that from face to face, I'm going to do it again from face to feet. And that's going to be all the elbow work because I covered the whole abdominal region. And then we're going to go into the lift. Thanks for joining. So, coconut oil.